Hello, darlings, and welcome to your weekly COVID-19 update. I am your host, Portia Scott, and as usual, today I am here with my co-host, Dr. Donovan Christie. But before we bring Dr. Christie on, I want to know, where are you watching from? Where are you watching from, darlings? I see people coming in. Candy, thank you so much for joining, darling. Val, thank you so much for joining. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Tell me, where are you watching from? I hope that you are staying home because this is your weekly COVID-19 update, and we are always telling you, stay at home. So where are you watching from? Where are you tuning in from? I know I have people in Atlanta, in different areas of Atlanta. So let me know. Hey, babe, thank you so much for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So while you guys know, we love partnering with other organizations to really support and impact humanity. I always love to say, you may not be able to feed the 5,000, but we can do one. And one of those things I want to do is I do not have an organization up tonight because I want you to do your own acts of kindness. Call somebody on the phone, text somebody, send somebody something that you know they need. Send a cash app that somebody wasn't expecting, and it doesn't have to be large. You never know what $10 or $20 can do. But I want us to really sit down and do an act of kindness for somebody else, for our neighbor. Organizations are great. You guys know I love supporting them, but I think that so many times we just want to feel that human touch, and we just want to know that our call, that our donation, that whatever our check-in is going to actually somebody that we know needs it. So that is what we're doing today. We're doing our act of kindness today. So call somebody today, polo somebody, text somebody, touch somebody that you know. And that's what we're doing today. Jackie, thank you so much for joining, darling. Also, if you love this broadcast, if you love this weekly broadcast, if you love the daily dose of inspiration that you get every single weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern time, I want you to text the phrase "wake up" to 31996. That's "wake up" to 31996. You'll get some inspiration. We'll let you know when we're going live. You'll know everything that's going on around here. So text the phrase "wake up" to 31996. Now, I want to introduce my co-host for today, Dr. Donovan Christie. Hey, Doc.
Hey, hi Portia. How's everything going?
It's good. How are you?
I'm still healthy.
Yes.
On the front line fighting, and I'm still healthy. Thank God.
Glad.
Praise be to God.
I know we're always praying for you guys because we know that you're just like in the front. You're seeing these cases and just seeing all kind of stuff that's happening. So, with that said, what are you grateful for today?
Well, the first week, I think I told you I was grateful for my family.
Yes.
And then I told you that I was grateful for health.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for today, for my personal relationship with the Almighty.
Yes.
Because I think it gives me such confidence, in terms of hope. You look at hope and you say, well, I hope I get a job. I hope I get this. What I believe I have is a confident expectation.
That's so good.
And I just love that.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I'm just blessed to have his love and his guidance. And I'm very, very honored about it.
I love that, Doc. I love it, love it, love it. You're always like that though. So I love it. Val says she loves you. And Jackie, and just thank you guys for everything that you do. So on top of, I still can't wrap my mind around the fact that you're in the front, in the front lines. I actually talked to Jackie Thursday. I think she was just getting home. It was like almost 8:30. And you guys, and you still do this every week, and she's on sometimes, but she's always supporting. So I just thank you guys so much. So you guys heard what Doc is grateful for. I want to hear, what are you grateful for? Trisha, thank you so much for joining, darling. What are you guys grateful for? What are you guys grateful for? I tell you, I think about it today, and I'm so grateful for my community as a whole. I'm grateful for my friends and family. I'm grateful for the community that my husband and I get to serve. I am so grateful for community, because you just never know when you need strength and how it comes through the people that you interact with. And we can't touch each other, but just that phone call, those text messages, a polo, whatever it is. So I am so grateful for community. So you guys in the comments, let us know what you are grateful for. Dwayne, thank you so much for joining, darling. This week, I am super excited. Doc is going to give us his weekly updates, but we're also going to really talk about behavioral health, mental health, and really how this is impacting us as individuals, how it's impacting our families, and also our children. How can we help our children navigate this? I have two little ones, but I have an older son as well, and trying to make sure that I'm helping them through this as healthy as possible. And we have two amazing professionals that are going to help us with that. So first, I want to introduce Marty Sellers. I call him Marty. Marty Sellers. He is a mental health professional, and Marty really specializes in marriage and family therapy. He does so much more, though. So you can call on him for anything. But today, I really wanted to hear him from his marriage and family background and just have some conversation about that. So, Marty, thank you so much for joining.
Listen, thank you for having me as always, and just love what you're doing. I think it's definitely so important that we have these conversations.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Welcome, Marty.
Thank you.
Good seeing you again.
Thank you.
And Marty, I'm going to go ahead and put you on the spot, and I'm going to ask you, what are you grateful for?
You know, I'm definitely like Doc, grateful for just having a relationship with the creator of the universe and everything. But, you know, I'm grateful for family.
Yes.
Getting the time to spend with loved ones that I have taken, you know, as we all do, take things for granted, but able to spend some quality time and rebuild bonds and relationships. And that has been, for me, just invaluable.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I see Dwayne said he's grateful for the challenge as new opportunities are all around. That is so incredible and so impactful that we all know that this is a challenging time. We're concerned. We have more questions than answers, but to look around and say, what are some of those new opportunities that I have? New opportunities to love, new opportunities to share, new opportunities to rest for some of us, to bond with our family. So I love it. So our last guest that I'm going to introduce, I am so excited to have her on here. It is Michelle Wallace Byrd, and she is also a mental health professional. And Michelle specializes in anxiety and depression, and that's really what she's going to talk about around today. We're going to have a panel. We're going to just have some real honest conversations, and we want to take your questions. You know, I think one of the things I love about Doc being here, Michelle and Marty, is that, you know what, COVID-19 has hit, it has hit the world. And some of us have, lost jobs, and we're not able to see the doctors, or we're not able to call somebody. And so in this small little time frame, in this hour, you get to hear tools and ways to keep you safe if you're already healthy, what to do if you may have contracted the virus, but also how can I deal with this from a mental health perspective? So I'm so excited that you're here, Michelle. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it.
No problem. And so, Michelle, I'm going to ask you, what are you grateful for?
I am grateful for God. Just having a higher power, because at times like this, we've got to have some type of hope. And for me, that is the hope, as the doc has said earlier. And so I'm grateful for having that divine intervention, because COVID is hitting personally, and I know God is good. And so I am just grateful for having that relationship with him.
Absolutely. Yep. I love it. I love it. So you guys, I see people just coming in, grateful for my health, clean, physical, I love that. Love that. Love that, Godfrey. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you guys so much for interacting. I want to make sure that you guys put your comments in the comment box, put your questions in there. We are going to have an amazing show. So we're going to start out with Doc. And Doc, we're going to ask you about some of these statistics and cases in Georgia. I know we have listeners all over, but a large majority of our audience is here in Georgia. And just hearing people opening up and everything. Brent, thank you so much for joining, Dolly. And so, people opening up states. Let's just talk a little bit about the statistics. It looks like some things are going down, cases are going down. Can you speak to that?
Sure. Well, I think as of today, the last numbers showed that we had over almost 18,000 cases in Georgia, with over 675 confirmed death. So for Georgia, that's, I think we're somewhere in the middle of the road. We're certainly not New York.
Right.
For Fulton County, which is a county that I live in, we've had over 2,000 cases and 74 deaths.
Wow.
But believe it or not, in the United States, we have almost a million cases. It's like 750,000, 755,000 and counting, with over 40,000 people that have perished from this virus. Now, when you contrast that with the influenza virus on a regular basis, a low year, you'll get about 25 to 26,000 people that die every year. You just don't know that. But it could be as high as 60,000. Now, what they're projecting for this corona pandemic is that they're projecting anywhere between 60 and 80,000 deaths for this pandemic. Now, that has a lot to do with how people, whether the social distancing is working, how people are compliant to that.
Right.
And, the fact that some states are very eager to open up their borders and to open up the economy again, it's a little alarming because I just don't think that we're seeing enough evidence that we are on the downspout, going down in terms of cases. And, I just don't see that for us to be in such a hurry. I think another month or so, we're looking at the middle of May, but, before you can start doing this. But I definitely think it should be state by state, city by city, or even county by county, and then people really still have to have certain restrictions in terms of still wearing masks and gloves, and until we are sure that this is not going to bounce back.
Absolutely. Doc, I want to make sure we go into the question. Somebody said this is very relevant, is what time do you feel is like Georgia's peak? Have we hit Georgia's peak yet? I'm not sure if you've seen or done any of the modeling, but what are we looking at?
I think if we didn't hit it, we're close to hitting it.
Okay.
I really think that we're in another week or so, we'll probably max out, and then we'll start seeing a reduction in the amount of new cases, that's a key variable that you're looking at.
Yeah.
And once you start seeing that going down, then I think we'll be safe.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Doc, for that. I really, really appreciate that. I think one of the things as we're thinking about states opening, and I know a lot of them, it's going to be a very strategic and structured way that we open it up. But when they do, does that mean that they're going to open up more testing? That's kind of what I think. If you're going to open it up, then we should probably know who are we've talked about it before, more so those carriers that don't show symptoms that are asymptomatic. So I guess have the test increased, and then talk to us a little bit. I think we have some new audience members here who don't know the different types of testing.
Yeah. And you're right. You're right, Portia. You cannot open it up without having the adequate testing. So there's two basic tests. Now, I don't want to get too technical, but, a virus, as you guys probably know now, have been educated on, really is just genetic material, which is, in this case, it's an RNA virus, and it's surrounded by a protein coat, a membrane around it. Okay. So what happens is that you can test for the virus by checking for that RNA. And that's what they call a PCR test, or a polymerase chain reaction test. You don't have to remember that, but PCR is what everyone knows that as. And that test, now they've reduced the amount of time that you can get that result down to about an hour. And those are the sites that, CVS, I hear, they bought the machines and they're doing these rapid tests, but they're only in 3 states. I don't know the exact location, but I know one of them is Georgia, and it's not every CVS. It's probably one CVS in a county. So, and those tests are going to be available. Those are the PCR tests, and you can get your results within 1 to 4 hours. The typical test, though, that you send to LabCorp or Quest, that's usually a 24 to 48, even 72-hour turnaround. They are also testing for the RNA, but it's a different process they use. That's what makes it take so much longer. The problem is that the labs are overwhelmed with the requests, the amount of requests that's coming out. Everyone wants to know, do I have this viral particle inside of me, right? And the best time to test it is within a week of having those symptoms, because that's when you're going to have the highest level of viral particles in the nose. So that's that. Now, so that's the RNA test. So remember that, PCR, RNA. The second test, which is the rapid tests that they have now, are if you've been exposed, the body is going to produce antibodies or immunoglobulins, same thing, to that particular virus. The first response is an IgM antibody, and that comes out within 3 days of exposure. The second response is an IgG antibody, and that comes out within 7 to 10 days of exposure. So you can test for exposure. So people who are asymptomatic, you will still be able to know they were exposed at this particular time. So it's a good test. We're actually offering that test. We just got a bunch of kits, and we've done probably about 25 to 30 people already, but we have a couple of hundred more kits that just came in over the weekend. So we're going to be doing those tests. And those are rapid tests. You find that out within 30 minutes if you've been exposed to the virus. If you, so basically there's a 3-day window that you may have been exposed and you didn't know. We would miss it for those first 3 days. But after that, if you've been exposed and you've been around somebody that had the symptoms, it's a really good test at picking up people who were exposed to the virus. So those are the two main tests.
Got it. Thank you so much, Doc. I know a lot of people, you guys make sure you're asking your questions, make sure you're sharing this broadcast. It is extremely, extremely good information that we need. And so, Doc, I know they have them at CVS. People are going to ask, can anyone go and have this test? And are they free?
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be free. It is free. The CVS test is. You do have to go online and sign up. And they don't want to do people who don't have symptoms.
Right. Okay.
That's the ticket with that particular free test. If you have symptoms, for sure, you can have a runny nose, right? You can have a sore throat. It's actually we're ending the pollen season is here, so many people are going to have those symptoms anyway. So it's the time for them to go ahead, and if they can go online and find out exactly what form you have to complete, do it, and they'll set up a time and do it curbside.
Absolutely. Thank you, Doc. I really, really appreciate that. I do have a question. And so Marty or Michelle, you guys can kind of answer this, because as we're, talking about this, thinking about all of this, I think one of the big things that we kind of got thrust into this, right? I mean, it almost went from like one day to the next day. I can't go out my house. Outside is scary. My home is the only safe place. And so I think for me, I want to know, what are some ways that we can manage kind of that rush of, and I think a lot of people are saying, I've never been anxious before, or if I have been anxious, it's heightened now. Like, what are some of the ways to kind of navigate that just on a day-to-day basis, some tools that we can use to make sure we're navigating that mental health? Because we know if we get stress breaks down the body, right, Doc? And then now your immune system is breaking down. So now if you do come in contact, you don't have what you need to fight it off either. So kind of talk to us about some of those tools that we can use to navigate through kind of the crisis.
Go ahead, Michelle. I'll let you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. So what I am certainly telling my clients right now too is that, first of all, make sure that you're not inundating yourself with all of this information.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. It's on Facebook, it's social media, in the news, when you're talking to people. And so really limiting yourself from all of this information. Practice calming techniques, like making sure you're eating correctly, making sure you're sleeping correctly. If you find that you're overly anxious, there are ways to calm yourself. I'm telling people, like, in this time, rather than to change the mindset. So rather than think about, oh my God, I have to stay inside because of this thing, find things that you would not ordinarily have time to do. So if it's a new hobby, if it's a new creative, something that, some people are sewing, some people are knitting, cooking, different things like that to keep your mind off of it and change your mindset about being indoors. Then you certainly have people who are alone, so
Right.
talking to your friends and your family virtually, making sure you're staying connected, definitely, and then seeking professional assistance if you need to do that. But I recommend, all of those things. And the number one thing is, don't watch everything that's out there. It's too much. It could just be too much.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. Marty, were you going to say something?
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely right, because a lot of anxiety is built around the lack of control, or the perceived lack of control
Absolutely.
over something within our sphere, or our day-to-day activities. And what I'm suggesting to people, listen, you take control over those things and those activities in our lives that we have control over. Control those things. We still can control getting up, washing, normal daily activities. And I totally agree with what Michelle was saying, that we can control the negative intake that we have, such as how much social media, how much of the news. If you cannot take it that day, then don't watch the news that day. Do something that's going to help keep you grounded, keep the body moving, keep the energy going, eating healthy. I have control over that. I don't have to eat all the quarantine snack foods in one day. Right.
Say that again.
Yes. I don't have to eat 3 meals. I don't have to cook grits and bacon and eggs and hash browns and all that every day.
Right.
With that, yes. And I try to purpose myself. I'm grateful. I live in a neighborhood where I can go out and do a little bit of walking and just get the blood flowing and all that.
Right.
But, sitting next to a window and getting some sunlight, getting some vitamin.
Yes.
Some of the simple things, go back to the simplicities of life and find those things that bring you comfort and enjoy with you. No Brent, no ruffles.
Right. No ruffles. I love that. I love that. I love, because Doc is always on here, and he's been really teaching us that if we're healthy, not just, he teaches us about if we get it, but if we're healthy, really staying healthy. And a lot of that is our mental health, staying healthy. And so as you guys are saying, no ruffles, Doc is like, yes, you're speaking my language, making sure you're kind of finding that stillness, making sure that you're doing something. So I appreciate that. Thank you guys. We have some great people who have joined. Magaline, thank you for joining. Raheem, thank you so much for joining, darling. One of the other things I want to say is that, how do I manage a family member? So maybe it's not hitting me per se the same way, but how can I help a family member? I think it's easier with, if I'm going through it, because I can say, I'm gonna go for a walk, I'm gonna do this. We can't really make our family members do it, but how can I support them, during this time, and helping them process that?
Yeah, no, I think that's so important, because just like we're going through it and processing it ourselves, each of our family members are processing it differently as well.
Mhm.
And being empathetic to how they're processing it. For me, for example, my 73-year-old mother lives with me, as well as my 4-year-old daughter and my
Mhm.
22-year-old son. They're all processing it differently.
That's so good.
Right.
Mhm.
So I could kind of have so we spend
Yeah.
time together. We talk about it. We talk about how we
Yeah.
can help each other and find some bonding times together where we can really share in this so that we all know we're not in this by ourselves. And guess what? Some of the same fears you're feeling, I kind of feel it too.
Yeah.
And
Right.
certainty. And it's okay that we might feel indifferent right now, but we're going to get through this together.
That's so good. I love that, Doc.
Yeah.
I know you work out a lot, but I also want to put this in perspective. Doc and his wife, they have a practice. They also have a nursing home. I know they're working way more than 12 hours a day. They're on the front lines. But Doc, I still see your Peloton. I still see when you completed something. And I think it's important that people see like how to carve out that time, right? So
Mhm.
like how much time, if it's the bare minimum, Doc, should I be trying to carve out just to get a little bit of exercise, a walk? What would be like the smallest amount of time that I could say if I say, I'm homeschooling, I'm a single mom, or I have so much going on and I want to get out, but I can't. Like how much, a little bit of exercise or walk should I be trying to, get to?
Well, first of all, let me just tell you that exercise is a panacea.
Mm-hmm.
It helps with high blood pressure. It helps with diabetes. It
Mhm.
helps with depression. It
Mhm.
helps with anxiety.
Mhm.
It
Yes.
helps with your cholesterol. It improves your mood. I mean, there's just so many benefits to exercise that if you're not doing it, you're pretty much missing one of the biggest cure or treatments for many conditions.
Mhm.
And if you're not used to exercising, say now this pandemic comes across, and you're not used to exercising, you gotta start it gradually. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd recommend at least 15 to 20 minutes to start off, but you want to do that every day. You can go out. There's nothing wrong with you wearing a mask and getting some sun and walking around the block just to get the sun. Now, if it's raining, then you don't need to do that. But yeah, you're right. I do have a Peloton and I'm on it 3 days a week. And luckily for me, we do have a gym in our office. So I get a chance to work out there a couple of times a week. So I'm not missing my strength training because I think that's equally as important for your bones and your muscles and your joints. But
Mm-hmm.
the cardio, the walking, the bicycle riding, the elliptical, getting that heart rate up is really life changing. And we should all do it because we're living in a very stressful time. And
Mhm.
stress, if you had to separate, exactly what makes
Mm-hmm.
people get sick and other people not, stress is a big thing. Stress causes hormonal changes in the body with cortisol and adrenaline, and it causes high blood pressure. It causes you to eat more, and you eat the bad foods because you get sugar cravings and salt cravings. It's all physiologic. And
Mm-hmm.
so if
Mhm.
we have to be able to manage it and to manage it effectively. And not only is behavioral health very, very important, but I think if you get into the exercise piece, you just notice amazing results. That's all it is. And you have to make it a part of your regular life.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I
Absolutely.
thank you for that, Doc. I always talk about this because you guys, my family is so important to me. And I have two small children at home, but I have one son that's
Mhm.
23 in Spain. He's currently stuck in Spain. He's in the Navy and he was supposed to be home on the 26th of March. And I remember that conversation when he had to tell his brother and sister that he wasn't going to come. And when he realized that this kind of it was coronavirus, right? He can't go anywhere, and trying to navigate that. And I think one of the questions that I want to ask does pertain to children, and
Mhm.
I think it's important. Can you guys tell me some signs?
Okay. Absolutely. So for younger children, you might see irritability, frustration. They might start to act out. You all of these things. When you see a behavioral change, they might withdraw, try to isolate. You know, many people are homeschooling right now, and you might see a change in homeschooling or a change for the thirst of the education or the joy of learning. You might see a change there. All those things could be a sign. And the thing that we can do, first and foremost, is to have empathy for them, be patient with them, but also sit down and talk with them. Like our kids, like children, are little human beings. And so we need to sit down and talk with them, find out where they are, how they're feeling, because they may not always tell you that, I'm stressed, or they don't have the words of the vocabulary to talk about, or to just walk them and say, I'm feeling stressed, I'm feeling afraid. So having a conversation with them about this thing, just to see where they are with it, check in with your children, because they know more than we think they know, and we want them to have the correct information. And if we're not giving them the information in our homes, trust me, they'll get it from somewhere else. The other thing
Mhm.
too is to kind of calm their anxieties, is
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that they're not taking in the social media, googling things, listening to adult conversation. We get to control what our kids see and hear, so we can kind of navigate them through how to feel in this pandemic. Yeah, certainly.
Most definitely. And I would even agree and share with that too, that we're looking for different signs, especially, and I love what you said, sometimes our children don't have the vocabulary to express those things. So if you're hearing my daughters say, oh, my tummy hurts, or those type of things, we got to pay
Hmm.
attention to those type of things. And even if they might revert back to some behaviors such as, and I hate to say, but
Hmm.
um,
Yes.
some of those other things, or acting like a little baby, or reverting back to childlike
Hmm.
behaviors that they should be well above. That is definitely a clear sign of something is wrong, and we need to talk through it. And I would even tell, I love what you said, having patience, and parents having patience with their children. We have to have these dialogues with them, so that
Hmm.
we're getting to understand them, and they're getting to understand us a lot better. And that is so, so key.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
I
giving them
so
that extra attention as well.
Mhm.
Our
Yeah.
days are full. If you can imagine working, like, we're all working. I don't have small children at home, but and sometimes I have my grandson here with me during the week. So you imagine like working your job and still needing to be that homeschool teacher, and
Right.
Yeah.
you can get irritable yourself. Like, I have all these things, and now I have to be the teacher too. But just taking out that time, like if you got to take 5 minutes for yourself, take 5 minutes for yourself, and then
Hmm.
come back and sit with that child, because they're not understanding that you're working all day, and that your job is a little bit more stressful than it was when you weren't working from home. And just
Right.
because they might want a little bit more attention. I know that little guy will sit right outside this office and wait. Nana, are you done yet? Nana, is it time yet? And he's eating more. He's eating more. I recognize that's anxiety. He's
Hmm.
anxious.
Right.
Every
Mhm.
time you look, I need a snack. I need
Hmm.
just like we as adults, when you say, like, let's not eat all the snacks in one day. We're feeding that anxiety. Like we want to eat,
Yeah.
or we're bored. Same thing with the children. Same
Yeah.
thing with the children. So
Yeah.
just spending a little bit more time with them and paying them attention. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that. One of the things that the school systems that my kids go to is they're doing this Monday through Thursday. And so Friday, they're not allowed to give them any new work. But I'm telling you, the work that they're doing, it's like some days I'm like, listen, stop working, like, because homeschool isn't the same as school, and it's way different than just homeschooling. We're being made to do this, so I feel like it may be a different
Mhm.
signal than it would be.
And
um
even not to cut you off, Portia, sorry about that, but
yeah.
kids take breaks throughout the day.
Mhm.
We take
Yes.
a break at
Yes.
work. We're like, listen, some of us are like, it's my 15-minute break. I'm getting up. Our kids need breaks too. Some of
Yeah.
them can only do 15, 20, 30-minute segments, and they need a quick little break. with that. And now we're dealing with our kid who has ADHD. Not that, and we put
Yes.
such a bad label on ADHD. I always say
Yes.
they're the
Talk about
kid.
that, Marty.
Yes, they're the kid who can do multiple things. They're the kid who learns by feeling and touching. We cannot tell them, sit down, shut up, don't say anything. We can't sit down and
Right.
not say anything. So we have to
Right.
change. Right. Maybe we teach
Yeah.
them, listen, the recipe calls for 3/4 of a cup. Now, what is 3/4 of? Go to the kitchen and get me the 3/4 cup. Now, whatever, how
Right.
many
Yes.
quarter cups does it take to make a cup? Measure that out. So now we're teaching in a way that they can identify and understand. Let's be creative. And we're not expected to be
Yes.
perfect teachers. We didn't go to school to be school teachers, but let's be
Right.
creative in that. And maybe we might be a little bit more empathetic to the school teacher.
Right. Right.
With our kids, like, oh, didn't
Yeah.
realize that my kid was all that.
Absolutely.
The other thing that I was thinking too, I'm sorry, Portia. The
No,
other thing that I was thinking too is sometimes it's okay to take some time off. When you start to see that everybody is anxious or irritable or
yes.
whatever things are going on that doesn't normally happen, I've had a mom who's like, I just stopped. We just stopped. Like, okay, we gonna stop for now. I was a homeschool mom way before this pandemic happened, and they were very into and had control as well over their education. How many hours a day are we gonna do this? Are we gonna do 2 hours and then take a break? Or are we gonna go straight through? Like, how are we gonna do this thing with homeschool so that they bought into their education? My children did, and they did very well. And it was some days where we were like that other mom, we had to just stop.
Yep, absolutely. I think, Daryl, can you put up Cherie's comment? Yeah. I think a couple of people are just saying, I agree. They do need breaks. Like her son is getting headaches.
Yeah.
And so just seeing some of these comments in here, I think Trey Gunn says we have to be reasonable when it comes to homeschool. My homeschool is 9 to 1, 4 hours per day. Morning children are comfortable with this time. I think that's important to do that. I know that Michelle is having some problems hearing me. Marty, I'm going to ask this question and then try to fix the audio just to see if she can hear me better, because I know you guys can hear me. Doc, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hear.
Okay. Okay.
I can't hear.
Okay.
I can't.
Yep. Got it. Yep. And so I think one of the things is, I lost my job, right? Someone lost their job. How can they get help?
Yeah, that's where there's so many going through all of that right now. And maybe we sit in that for a little while, and just kind of say, okay, I lost my job. And it was not anything that I did per se. It was because of this COVID-19 that none of us had any control over. And that's definitely what I like to call maybe it's a combined stress in that, and combined anxiety, where different things are happening, event after event after event. And then even combined that it's happening all at the same time. And so with that, maybe it's a time to really reboost your resume. Maybe it's time to put some feelers out. Maybe it's time to say, hey, who's hiring? Or maybe it's a wonderful time to even look at, maybe you wanted to go back to school. Maybe this is the perfect opportunity for you to develop new skills, research a new trade, all of that. And really look at how you can now rebuild yourself and your brand. For me, I just wanted to rebuild my brand and repurpose myself and spend some time doing that. And as a result, I'm writing this a book that I'm so excited about during that time. Maybe it's your time to start a home business or doing what you can in that regards as well. But we can only do so much with that. And even talking to a mentor that can help you through that. As well as some great opportunities as well. And then a lot of we therapists and companies are offering reduced rates or even some free sessions to help you navigate through that. It doesn't hurt to ask. What did my grandmother say? A closed mouth never gets fed. So open your mouth. One of my mantras is speak up, speak out, and live. Listen, if you need it, speak up, speak out about it. Let's not wear our pride during this time, if we can, as best as possible, and let other people know, I need help. I need help. And I'm okay to say, I need help.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in some sessions, it's when I'm working with my clients who are having this issue with being furloughed and what that means and
Yes.
unemployment, all those things you said above, we talk about. We also get down to like we can help with some career resources if that's what you want to do. So yeah, I like the answer that you gave. Like it's time for us to reinvent and do some new things. Do some new things. Again, changing that mindset doesn't
Mhm.
have to be the worst thing in the world. What else can I be doing? What else
Yes.
can I be doing? Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Okay, I think we lost Portia this time.
I know. I can't hear her either.
How about now?
We lost her.
Yes.
Oh,
Michelle can't. So, Marty, I'm
Yeah.
going to ask the question. Just repeat it to Michelle for me
Okay, I
to
will.
keep the conversation going
Yes.
because I don't want to stop where we are. And I know we
Right.
have tons of comments and questions and things like that. So it sounds like the book idea was great and rebuilding my brand. I love that. People love that. So I
Mhm.
think really digging deep into what's going on. One of the
Mhm.
things I wanted to say was, Michelle and I had talked about this, and sometimes we are adding the extra pressure to our children.
Yeah.
By, for me, I know I'm like, did you wash your hands? How
Right.
fast? How much, did you use soap? So if you could just ask her about that, are we adding pressure to our children and help us to help them stay healthy, but
Right.
also keep that balance?
Excellent. And so I love the idea that you were saying, Portia, about creating balance. So Michelle, she was asking, have we created extra pressure by putting pressure on our kids about, did you wash your hands too much? Did you do this? Don't touch that. And how do we create balance in our families and in our work environments so that we're not creating additional anxiety and stress that's
Right.
already there?
Absolutely. And I can tell you firsthand, I think I may have caused a little bit of anxiety with my grandson, and I caught myself as soon as I did it. We go for walks, we walk the dog, we go for walks, and the park that we go to, we can walk around, and of course, you can't don't get on the playground. You can't do
Mhm.
any of that. That's kind of roped off or whatever. And he wants to touch things. And I think one day I was like, don't touch that. And then I had to stop myself. I had to stop myself. It's like, okay, what are you doing here? And he's like, I know, Nana, don't touch it. And so just giving a soft answer without having anxiety in your voice, just, you're explaining things to them, but it's not the whole, like, don't touch that. Immediately you're in emergency mode. Just kind of bringing that down. How I balance, like I said, I take walks. I'm exercising. I started a program where I'm exercising twice a day, but it was before the pandemic. So it just kind of kicked right in. Some days I just relax because,
Mhm.
like I said before, you can kind of get burned out with talking to people all day.
Mhm.
It's something about telehealth, video conferencing that wears you a little bit more than in person. So I'm listening to my body. I'm doing what I'm telling my clients to do. I have, that question you asked before is like, how do you, is you ask the doc about, how much time is there a minimum amount of time? I have clients like, well, I don't have time to meditate, or I don't have time to whatever, because some of them are still working from home. Well, you do have time to meditate if you take a shower. You just stand in there,
Mhm.
light a candle, and stand there. You met
Mhm.
you can walk up, I don't want to go outside. Okay, well, walk up and down your stairs.
Yeah.
It's so just making things very practical. And I do the same. That's how I keep the balance, because I do the same. And I have to be intentional about keeping balance, because I will talk to anybody that wants to talk, even when it's even when they're not on the clock, like, I have to be mindful that you've had 25 clients this week already. I'll have people to or make it short if I'm going to take extra time to talk with people, because I don't like, especially now, somebody calls me and they're kind of in a panic, I want to talk them down from that panic. But I have to be mindful because I would be talking 24/7 to those that need it, which is why I created also this Facebook group so that I can offer some assistance and some support to people outside of what I do.
Absolutely. So people are saying relaxation is good. Wow, great idea. Meditate in the shower and walk up and down the stairs. I think these are so great. It seems so simple, right? And I think sometimes we make it so hard because we think about mental health. We think about the mind and how complex it is. And so even when we're thinking about all the coronavirus, and I think when Doc comes on and explains it, that even helps with some of the anxieties and kind of fears when we have tangible information and tools that we can go normalize our responses, be calm and be practical. I do 10 push-ups. I mean, people are just, it's just some great information. So you guys, if you have any questions, please put it, in the comments. One of the things I wanted to ask too is just around that whole family structure. And my husband and I kind of took some time and thought about how can I support you during this time? What does that look like? And, what are some ways that even spouses, right? They're in these close quarters together all the time. And, some people are interacting more than they have ever interacted with their spouse in years and all of these things. And so I guess the question that I'm trying to ask, how can we ensure that one, the marriages stay healthy, and maybe marriages that aren't as healthy, how can they use this time to kind of get back there or start working on that communication?
Awesome. Great question with that. And I'll start off the question about the relationships and then punt it over to Michelle after that. But talk about how do we continue to keep healthy relationships, especially when we're stuck with, I don't want to say stuck. That's bad. I have got reason to say that because some people say, I'm stuck with this person. I'm like, they're your loved ones. With that,
Right.
I've been suggesting having family nights. We have a game night. We have a time where there's no phones and no social media, that we're getting together as a family. And even with couples, having a date night. However, you can do that with saying, hey, maybe your date night is after you put all the kids to bed, and you guys are having a date night in your bedroom, on the back porch, what have you, where you're rekindling just communication. And maybe it's a wonderful time of I'm a vision board person. I love vision boards. And create a individual vision board, a family vision board, and a couple's vision board. And then we talk about it and see if we're all on the same page, and why are we pursuing these visions and dreams, and how we can manifest them together with them. So that's one of my suggestions. Michelle, how about yourself?
Absolutely. Finding, and this is a time again for us to be creative in our relationships. This is a time for us to be creative in our relationships. Like you said, having that picnic. My husband and I, we went to virtually an anniversary party yesterday. It was wonderful. It allowed us to continue to connect and allow us to connect with our friends. We used to live in Georgia, so we have friends in Georgia, and it was like 6 couples, and we all got on Zoom, and we had this anniversary party for our couple friend. And I take everything. Invite me somewhere, it's gonna be a date night. If it's a couples thing, we're calling it a date night. And that's what we do. And so this anniversary thing, it was for them, but it was a date night. I think certainly though this time is teaching us to be a little bit more patient with one another. More patient with one another.
I wish.
Go ahead.
I wish Michelle could hear me, because my husband is literally behind the camera laughing because everything is a date night for me. We're on the couch with coffee. Oh, it's date. We're in the shower or we're in the bathroom in the mornings brushing our teeth. That's our morning date. Everything. If we are together in the same room at the same time doing something close enough, it's a date. So it's so funny that says that.
You're right. But that's exactly what Michelle was speaking about. It's a mindset. how you look for different opportunities and you change your mindset. It all begins here, changing our stinking thinking. I'm such a stinking thinking guy. And really making it work to your advantage.
I love it.
We said it all the time growing up. When life serves you lemons, what do you make?
Lemonade.
Lemonade. Yes.
I love it. We're on the couch together. This is a date night. We're having a cup of coffee. This is our date morning. We're brushing our teeth. Hey, and all of it. And it makes such a difference. And Doc, you had said something powerful too. He says, listen, good relationships get better during this time, and bad relationships could potentially, I love that, get worse. But if you change your mindset and change how you view it, you now have the propensity of churning that all around and making it a great relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. I think,
and even with our relationship with the other family members, you know, my grandson had a birthday in the beginning of this pandemic, and we set this house up like a jungle gym. Everything, all bets were off. We played hide and seek. I didn't know we had this many spaces in this house.
I love it.
So like we really got to shift your mindset. It could have been like, oh God, what are we gonna do? We don't have anything to do for this birthday. Or let's turn this house into an obstacle course, and we videoed, you know, a lot of things can come out, a lot of positive things in our relationship can come out of this time.
And you know what, Doc, I wanted to ask you, because you and Jackie, not just you and Jackie, but you and Jackie and Shannon, all of you guys are on the front line, right? So you're seeing all of this. And then you come home and you have grandkids, and Shannon has children, and you have your son and daughter-in-law and new babies there. And so what are you guys doing to make sure that in these 15, 16-hour days that you're still connecting, you know, you and Jackie, but also with your family?
Well, we just go to our room and close the door.
Yes.
Sometimes we do that, but no. I will tell you that this particular, shelter in place order, I'm actually loving some of the aspect of it, because first of all, my eldest son, who lives in New York, with my beautiful daughter-in-law, they have 2 kids. When this whole thing started in New York, where it looked like the whole city was going to crumble, they jumped in a car and they came down. So they've been with us now. It's almost 4 weeks. And it's been wonderful having them here. So all my grandkids, all 5 of them, are actually under our roof. And so that's been good. But the good thing is I'm the grandparent, so I don't have the direct child care responsibility. So that's the beauty of it. When they start crying or anything, I just, will you, so they know they take care of their kids. And I just smile, because I remember when that was me, And so, my wife and I, we work, we have 2 locations. So we work in the same location 2 days a week, and the other 2 days we're in different locations. But so when we get together, it's usually in the evening, 8, 9 o'clock, and we, sometimes we're eating late, but we're doing the intermittent fast, so we don't usually have our first meal until about 12 or so, or even lunchtime. So when we eat our dinner, it's about 8:30 or so. And then we'll stay up late till about 11 or 12. For me, that's late. I'm not a late person. And I try to get my 7 hours of sleep in every night. And it's wonderful to be able to have a home that's big enough to accommodate all these folks. And I feel blessed, really, just to have them. And I know that if this didn't happen, there's no way Donnie, my actor son, would be here right now spending this much time with us.
Right.
And so it's wonderful. I look at the positive side. Oh, they're here. Today we had our first teleconference with all the kids. I have a son in California. I have another one in Colorado. So we all got on the phone. We did this teleconference, and it was just good. It's wonderful to be able to. We try to make things positive. This is a transient thing, not the new way everything is going to be. So accept what you have and make the best out of it.
I
Yeah.
love
Yes,
it, Doc.
absolutely.
Elizabeth said, we
Absolutely.
are so blessed. It's so true. So,
Yeah.
you guys, we have about 6 minutes left. Or
Wow.
so. And so, but I want to make sure that if anyone has any questions, put them in the comments. Put them in the comments. You guys, this has been amazing. I mean, people saying choosing to change the atmosphere. When we change our mindset, we change our lives. Great conversations. You guys, thank you so much for joining and for sharing and for interacting. But if you have any questions, let's hear them. Let's hear them. Let's hear them. I know I wanted to definitely know how to navigate that with my children and talking to my kids and understanding, them and making sure I open up those conversations, with them as well. I think one of the things, Doc, I know that a lot of people on here have heard kind of over the weeks, and we've just talked about so many, so much information. And I always say I want to thank you and Jackie and Shannon and everybody that's on the front lines that are just seeing these patients, so thank
Mhm.
you, thank you, thank you. I know, your team is doing curbside testing and telemedicine visits and all of this stuff. There was a question earlier, and I want to make sure we answer that. I think I know the answer. I could probably answer it by myself, but as far as your testing center, you are only testing your patients. Is that correct?
Yes, you have to be a patient to get tested, but we've had quite a few new people who've come in and they've registered. We can actually get them registered to become a patient. I can't just do a test
Right.
without, having all that demographic information. And most of the insurance companies are covering the tests.
Okay.
The rapid test that I talked about earlier, the antibody test, that is not covered. So there's a cash price for that. But the RNA test, the 24, 48-hour test, that is covered, and that would only cost them their copay to be able to get that done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that,
Mhm.
Doc. And then, Marty, as you guys are doing telehealth and all of that stuff, does it work the same way? If I have insurance, how can I, see someone now? Does it work the same way? I just have to call the offices. Kind of give us some ideas for people who may have never seen a counselor and doesn't really know how that works.
Yes. Great question about that and how does it work? I know that here in California, all of the insurance companies and all of that have, from the American Psychology Association, all of them have sent out letters to all of us saying that we still practice exactly the same way. So people can call your therapist under insurances. They're all covering it. And then those of you who may not have insurance, ask about a sliding scale. We're all being extremely generous because I know a good true therapist wants to make sure you are getting help, and money is secondary during this time for many of us.
Absolutely.
Correct. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know here in Chicago, some of the insurance companies are even waiving the deductibles and the copay for clients. And
Wow.
certainly, I'm taking clients on a sliding scale. So call your insurance company if you have insurance and find out if they're waiving those copays and those deductibles at this time.
Mhm.
And again, if you don't have insurance, ask about a sliding scale. Absolutely.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Marty, you said something last week about some type of organizations that help out people who don't have insurance and maybe not have the money. Do you remember who that was? I know you were teaming up with some people.
Yes, I know Taraji is doing an amazing job with that and out of her foundation, and she's trying to
Okay.
get somewhere between 3 to 5 free sessions
Okay.
specifically for Black men. She is
Okay.
really targeting Black men with that. So if you check out Taraji's mental health foundation, and then 211, I think I said 411 last week, but it's 211 out here in California. You could dial 211 and they can at least get you connected with that. But many of us, I'm sure, Michelle, I'm on Psychology Today, therapy for Black men, good therapy. So there's lots of different organizations or that channel that you can look for therapists, and they will have their picture, their specialty, and what they're doing during this time. Or Facebook
Excellent.
people.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Somebody
Yeah,
said Benson
absolutely.
Henderson Foundation as well. I also want to speak to people who may still be working and have insurance. Your employer may have an EAP. You probably never even paid attention to it, but now a lot of times employers have EAPs where they have counselors that they have already set up and paid for, and you get usually 3 to 5 free sessions. So if you are working, I would go and email your HR, email someone who can, and ask them, do we have an EAP? You probably never paid attention, but now is the time to really ask if they have that in place. It is free to the employee. And so they take care of those sessions. There's no copay, but they will get you help. So I'm pretty sure a lot of organizations are putting it out, but just for you guys that do, you may be working, but you don't have insurance or you don't have the copay. A lot of companies do have that in their benefits packages. So absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, I want to thank you so much. I don't know if Michelle can hear me or not. So Marty, I am going to ask you to translate for me.
No problem. As we're wrapping up, Portia saying thank you so much, Michelle, for contributing.
Okay, you're welcome.
But I want to make sure
welcome.
before
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Before we leave, I want to make sure, how can we get in touch with her? What are the organizations that she has going on? So if you can ask her that, Daryl will put everything on the screen, but we want to know how we can keep in touch with her.
So great. How can we keep in touch with you? That's the question that Portia's asking. Yes, Michelle.
Oh, okay. So you can reach me. I have Facebook, Heads Up Mental Health Clarity Group. Michelle Wallace Byrd is my personal page. I work for Chicago Compass Counseling. I work with the group Chicago Compass Counseling here in Chicago downtown. I'm on Psychology Today. Michelle Byrd on Psychology Today. That's probably going to be one of the quickest ways to find me. And certainly you can give me a call as well. 773-231-0828.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for your time today.
Yes, thanks, Michelle. Very valuable information that you guys both have shared.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So Marty, I want to say thank you so much for being here and just sharing your expertise. But before you go, how can we keep in touch with you? Because we want to keep up with what you're doing. And let us know about that podcast that's dropping soon.
Well, I love a shameless plug, but definitely www.marcel Consulting. And I'm so excited that this amazing Portia is going to be working with me. I'm launching my own podcast starting on Wednesday, May 20th. I'm so excited about that and looking forward to that. But I'm also to go Mental Health Matters with Marty on Facebook. You can always find me there too. And that's probably, and like that, and we'll get more information about what I'm doing.
Great.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much. And then Doc, the man of the hour, Doc is here co-hosting with me every single week. So every week at 7 p.m. Eastern time, we are here giving you a weekly COVID-19 update. Doc decided, he sent me a text one time and said, I think we have been talking about trying to go live, and we did it once. And after we did the first one, he said, we should do this weekly. And I agreed. And it has been amazing. And so, Doc, thank you so much for being here. But you do so much. Let us know how we can keep in touch with you. How can we get help at the Anwan Regenerative Center, where I need that vitamin C and all the stuff that you do? How can we keep in touch with you, Doc?
Well, I mean, the best way really is just to call the office if they're looking for a rapid test. We have those that's available now. The price is it's $60 a test for the rapid one. But if, like I said before, if you come in, you have insurance, we can do the 24 to 48-hour test, and you'll know. This week, the past week that just left, we had more COVID positives than we'd had in the past. So I know we're reaching that peak. We had probably about 15 positives this week. So, we're expecting that this coming up week is going to be also busy. And then I think you'll start seeing a trend downwards after that. But you do need to know whether you're positive or negative. And if you've had any contact with people that has had the disease, you should be tested. Yeah. So absolutely. That's my contact information there. call us. And we have several providers. My wife is there. My daughter is there. They're both nurse practitioners. We have Dr. Thomas and another nurse practitioner, Ade. So we have 5 providers there to serve you. And we do these educational seminars on a regular so we can keep our staff protected. We wear masks, we wear gowns, we have face shields, gloves. We're ready and willing to work and feel like this is our calling to do it,
Absolutely.
to help.
Absolutely.
I want to just thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your day to come and just educate our audience. So I just want to remind everyone that weekly we are here at 7 p.m. giving you your weekly COVID-19 update. We love your questions. So even after this broadcast, you can put your questions in the comment. You can PM us on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, you guys can message us just to let us know what are some of the questions that you still have. Also, I want to let you guys know that I am here every single weekday, Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And we do the Wake Up and Show Up Live. It's a daily show giving you a daily dose of inspiration and empowerment. So we are super excited for each of you guys to be here. As I said earlier, if you loved this conversation, if you love the weekly updates, I need you to do me a favor, and I need you to text the phrase "wake up" to 31996. That is "wake up" to 31996. So you will be in the know. You'll know when we have a new show that's going live, when we drop a new podcast. We send information, education, empowerment, and inspiration right to your text. So I just want to thank everybody for being here. God bless you all. You guys have been amazing. And I love the panel. Thank you so much.
All right,
guys.
Michelle,
Until next time,
You're
same
welcome.
bat time, same bat channel.
you guys take care.
Bye-bye.